Laughing. Hello, how are you, everyone? I am Violette de Ayala. I'm the founder of FemCity, and you're joining me today for our Wednesday Wisdom. It's our Business for Your Soul series. We meet every Wednesday. We're probably changing it up in September, so we're going to meet every Wednesday up until then. I'm super excited for today's conversation. I've invited these two beautiful FemCity Global members to join me today. They are experts from our program, and we're going to talk today about let me look at my title, which I didn't put down in my notes. We're going to talk about revenue increases and, the value of putting yourself first. That would have been helpful if I put that in the notes. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The reason why we're talking about that is that women have a tendency of not putting themselves first. They will put themselves second, third, fourth, fifth. And there's a whole bunch of consequences that come through that. So today we're going to talk about the importance of putting yourself first, how it helps you. We are hoping collectively and collaboratively to help you in your success so that you take on these tips and you can go ahead and flourish into your business, into your brand, into your career. So let's go ahead and get started. I see some comments already came through. Melissa, another FemCity Global member, is sharing some love with us today. I just had a conversation with her last week. I'm hoping to get her more onto the FemCity platform. So welcome so much, Melissa. We're so glad that you are watching. And she says, so yes, so time to change this and so important. Melissa is reminding me that if you are watching live, feel free to make any comments. You can ask questions, share your aha moments. You can also just give us love. We love love. So if you want to go ahead and just give us some love, we will love on that as well. And if you're watching the replay, which I know many of you femmes do, you guys like to binge on the FemCity content during the weekends, you can always reach out to any of us to continue the conversation or to ask questions or advice. We're here for you. So before we get started, let's go ahead and have our panel of experts share a little bit about themselves. Kelly, could you share a little bit about who you are for femmes that don't know you?
Sure. I'm Kelly Sparks. I live in Denver, Colorado. I am a relationship coach and a public speaking trainer for women. And in both cases, it's all about helping women speak up and advocate for what they want, and putting themselves first is a big part of that.
Awesome. I'm playing around with all of these different settings. Behind the green room,
we love it
because we had it all like this, which was like a little bit too much. So this is kind of back up. So I'm a producer today. Let's go to Michelle. Michelle, share a little bit about yourself as well.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Butt, and I'm a facial intelligence expert and life coach. So I help people understand how to connect with themselves and with other people more effectively using the face as the platform for that understanding.
Beautiful. All right. So, and Melissa added some more love. Melissa, we are loving you. You are audience fan number one today. So thank you so much. She is sending us some love, and we sure do feel that. All right. So let's go ahead and start the conversation. What have you seen to be true when you've put yourself first? And I'm asking this question because I really feel that women up level and we shoot for stars that are even brighter when we hear the stories of other women. So that's why it's so important for us to share our stories. So what is your story about putting yourself first and how you've seen that show up in a beneficial way? Let's go to Kelly for that. Let me go ahead and change the format and swap over. Take it away, Kelly.
Well, I actually was going to share even just a little micro story because there's just moments all the time where this happens. But overall, what I see when I put myself first is always that everybody else benefits. And the crazy thing is we can know this and we can forget it all the time. And then we think we're being somehow giving or kind when we're putting other people first, but it doesn't help them. And we put ourselves first, it actually does help others more. And night before last, actually, I went upstairs and told my kids one was making dinner and one had to clean up. And that's what had to happen because there was something I really wanted to finish, really wanted to do it, and put myself first to do it. I said, y'all are taking this on and that's what you're going to do. And they were happy about it and happy to contribute and to do it. So it was a win-win all around. But if I'd gone up there feeling bad about it, and asking them in kind of a wonky way, like, I know you don't want to do it, but can you help? And I feel guilty. They would have felt crappy too and wouldn't have felt like they were contributing, and there would be disconnection. Or if I had actually done it, but been unhappy about it and resentful, they would have felt that. So instead, I was productive, got the things done, got my dinner made for me. We all had this amazing time of connection. And it's just like that all the time. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves that it always benefits everyone when we put ourselves first.
And I don't know why women, I don't know, and perhaps there's someone who's done a doctorate program on this, written some thesis, but I don't know why we always feel like we have to do everything all the time. And that we feel guilt when we say, could you help me? Could you do this? I don't know where that happened. It's just such a common conversation with women that we all feel that pressure to be Wonder Woman, to do everything, to not put ourselves as number one. For me, I remember that was me. Like, I remember being a new mom and like feeling guilty going to the gym, like just going, just feeling horrible, like feeling I was the worst mother ever, if I wanted to walk around the block outside or, have a coffee with my friend. I would torment myself. I would literally sit there and like call myself names, and I don't even know where that came from. But for me, I started snapping where I was sitting on 6 different boards. I had 3 kids in 3 different schools. I was starting FemCity Professionals at the time. I was working full time, owning a PR marketing agency. And I started to unravel like my health. I was pre-diabetic. I started having cholesterol problems, blood pressure. I was having so many health issues that my body was, and even then I was like, oh, I can't say no. I can't ask for help because I'd still, and it was because of the health issues that made me realize that I need to put myself first. Like, it's okay to put yourself first. And I did. I started saying no. I removed all that stuff, and revenue went up. My happiness went up. Productivity went up. The kids were all happy. Like, everything was connected. And I just don't know. That story is all women. I think all of us have been in that situation. I just don't understand why we allow ourselves to get there, and then we feel so bad when that's like ridiculous. That's impossible. So anyway, now I'm getting all upset. I'm like, what's going on with us? Anyway, Michelle, what are your thoughts on this?
For me, I think putting yourself first, it always, the notion seems so selfish. And I think that's why we kind of shy away from it, especially as women. But for me, what I found in my understanding of that, and especially with the work that I do, is that putting yourself first is finding a way to truly understand who you are, what your needs are, how you move through the world, and then just owning that unapologetically, so that then you can say, well, this is me, and this is how I am, or this is what I need. So if you don't like the way I'm showing up, not in kind of like a combative way, but just then I'm not going to try to not be myself for you. And I had just recently, I was talking to someone and I said, you just need to tell your family, this is me. She was a really sensitive person. And when things were all cluttered or disarrayed in the house, it threw her off. And I just said, just say, this is me and this throws me off. And if it throws me off, then either leave it, but know that I'm going to be off. I'm not telling you what to do, or know that if you just picked up your stuff, then I would be a much calmer, happier mom. And she's like, but isn't that manipulative? And I'm like, it's not manipulative if you're saying, this is who I am. This is how I do the world. And if you want to do it with me, then you have to understand what throws me off or what keeps me happy, and then make a choice. And then you leave that decision up to someone else instead of always accommodating and trying to fix yourself. Just, own yourself is kind of the biggest revelation I've found.
Yeah. And I think when we are advocates for ourselves, and that's the other thing I see, is that women are very strong advocates for other women, which I love, for children, for their partners. But when it comes to advocating for yourself as that friend, client that you just mentioned right now, it's interesting that was the perspective, right? Like, I'm just advocating for myself, or you're telling her to, and then her feeling was, well, that's manipulative. Well, that's wrong. So that's very interesting that was the perspective of that, when in essence, all you were telling her to do was advocate for yourself, as you would tell your children, or you would tell your neighbor, or you would tell your best friend. You'd be like, girl, you need to tell him this is the way it's done. Like, like I'm the mama, or whatever it is. So that's a whole other, now it's got me thinking like, yeah, that we are definitely conditioned into feeling a certain way when it comes to putting ourselves first. So I want to connect it to revenue, because generally at FemCity, we love talking about money. whether you're building your business, starting your business, or you have a tremendous career, have you ever seen that connection between putting yourself first and then an increase in revenue? I surely have. I didn't believe it, by the way, when people told me, oh, when you put yourself first, you're going to see revenue go up. I was like, I don't think so. That is no way. I'm going to be taking time to spend on myself. Like, how could that be profitable or like, generate revenue? But it did. What have you seen in your world, whether yourself personally or those that you've coached or worked with? Have you seen revenue increase or productivity as well? Let's go to Kelly. Let me see if I can actually swap things around.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that both with myself and with clients that I've seen, that totally happens. Having this conversation was reminding me of like years ago when my son, who's 14, was a baby, and like career-wise, I was still in that mode of trying to do all the things for everybody else, and I was way last. I wouldn't even sleep. I would work around the clock. I would work all night after he finally went to sleep. I mean, it was ridiculous. I've come a long way on this topic, so I feel really passionate about it. And the result was I felt constantly like I was terrible at my work, and I was being terrible at being a parent. And I just felt just bad in all areas of my life, and it absolutely affected my income. And then now when I create those boundaries around self-care, I mean, I had my second daughter 4 years later and had really flipped it by then. And it was a whole other experience. And yeah, I couldn't even make the revenue I wanted to make before I started putting myself first.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's the connection also, that when we put ourselves first, we now know what we want. And we're now willing to say no to the things that don't fall into that line of what we want. We're now more focused on what we're looking for, the goals that we have. So I'm feeling like it's all connected.
Yeah, I feel like you nailed it. And what Michelle said was about boundaries too, in a way. And like when you know what you want, you create boundaries around it.
Yeah. And it's okay to say no. I mean, we've even done that at FemCity. We've actually done workshops on like how to say no when people are asking, like, would you like to be on this board? I think women generally want to participate. They want to be helpful in this world. They want to serve, but then they have all this other stuff. And so they say yes, because they're like, well, it's a great opportunity and I really do want to help. And I feel bad if I say no because they really need me. But then it's much more powerful to just say no, but I know someone else who can help you, or no, it doesn't help me at this time. It's not in alignment with my goals. We've done all sorts of workshops because it is so ingrained with us to just say yes because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or we don't want to seem selfish, or we want to be of value, and it's connected to our worth. It's like this whole mumbo jumbo. Yeah. So we have some comments. Let's see. We have one that says, going to try soon, and it's baby steps for sure. Once you decide to put yourself first, it's definitely baby steps. It doesn't happen overnight. But how should we, outside of the guilt factor? So yes, that's a really great question too. So advice. Let's go to Michelle. Michelle, go ahead. What's your thoughts on the revenue and productivity?
Yeah, I think both of you made some really good points. And, it really is, not only do you find out what you want, you find out what you need in order to then, when you put yourself first, you find, okay, these are the things I need that will help me be more successful. So at the beginning of this year, I did this program, people may have heard of it as 75 Hard. And it's a lot of personal challenges and things you have to do with workouts and other things. And I thought, how am I going to do this? But I really wanted to do it. I really wanted a reset. I wanted to challenge myself. And so I had to tell everyone in my family, oh, sorry, got to go for my 45-minute walk now, and I had to move work things around. And in those 75 days, I probably had the best 75 days I've had in business in 3 years. And I was doing this for myself, and my family saw the benefits of it, and everyone. And so what I realized in that whole process was not only the things I wanted, but the things I needed. Like, I need to be outside every day. I need to make sure that I have time for me and time for work and time for kids and fit it all in. And knowing that allowed everything to kind of fit into the cracks to create the things that I wanted. So I think, and say no to things like you guys were saying, like, nope, sorry, can't play right now, but I'll play 45 minutes from now when I come back, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's the, and That's an excellent example right there. And you can say no gracefully. You can say no from love. You can say no, I mean, in a great way that still will open that door for opportunity in the future. I think that's the other thing that we think of, that when we say no, or we say those things, it's just, it just helps everyone. It helps everyone and I love that you guys both connected and shared that it does help you make more money. It does help you become more productive. And I think it empowers other people also. And when women see you doing that, it empowers them to also do that in their own world. We often use each other as inspiration and motivation. Oh, Kelly's doing that. Wow, I think the world of her, and she's doing that. That means it's okay. So I'm going to do it too. Or Michelle's so, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's a rock star. She's doing that. You know what? Empowers me to also do the same. So I wanted to ask you, because one of our viewers had asked also, so advice for femmes that are struggling to put themselves first. And that's the biggest piece, right? We've probably inspired them to look into it. We've probably encouraged them that they will make more money. They'll become more productive. They'll feel better as well. But how do you start? How do you really get into that place? I know a lot of women are like, yeah, it sounds good, but how do I even get myself there? Kelly, what advice would you have for them?
Start by playing with it. Start with little baby steps. Like you said, it's baby steps and it's a practice. And the guilt thing is a real thing, right? And it's a really sweet and wonderful impulse to want to put others first, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. And that's a beautiful thing, but start small. And to help with the guilt, you can ask yourself the question, how might everyone benefit if I put myself first? What could be possible? How might it benefit them if I did do this for myself? Because sometimes we just automatically assume that, we just are conditioned to think we have to say yes and overgive. But if we slow it down and ask, how might this help? We can start to see the ways and just test it out in small ways and just keep doing it.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was on a flight, I don't know, last week, 2 weeks ago. And where they always say, in that diagram, that video, or in that little pamphlet, when something happens in the airplane or something happens, you put that oxygen mask on yourself first, and then you assist others. I use that analogy in my mind all the time. If I'm not at my best, how can I be there for others? If I can't put myself first in my health, how can I do that for other people that I love near me? And I definitely became a better mom, by the way. Putting myself first, I became a way better mom and a way better partner as well. Michelle, advice that you have for femmes?
Yeah, I think especially when you're trying to combat guilt, or especially when you're, a mom and you've got your young ones, or even older ones, it really doesn't matter. Maybe the place to start is, how do I not put myself last? So can I move myself up the ladder just a little bit? And if I was to be first in my concept of firstness, what would that be? So it may not look like the things that we do. It may be like, okay, well, at least I can sit and read a book for 10 minutes today with no one bothering me. And that's first enough. And so, establish that, and then, move to the next thing and the next thing, because everybody's definition of first is going to be different. And your capacity to do that, depending on where you are in your life, may not be the same as some other women that you're trying to live up to their concept of being first. So, my advice is kind of like, okay, if you could start moving the needle just a little bit, like Kelly said, with baby steps, what would that look like? And if first feels too big, then how do I not be last today? And that question, just reframing it, might make the self-care start to come a little bit more easily.
I love that. Let me see. We have some more love that came through. The oxygen mask example is great. It's a motivator. Yeah, I go back to that all the time. Every time they do that, I think to myself, it's so true. It's like that with everything, though. It's just, anyway, love that. So how can femmes find you, learn more about the work you're doing in this world? Kelly?
They can find me at www.womenspeak.com/ksparks. And my email's there, information about me is there, or connect with me right here on Facebook or wherever you see this posted.
Awesome. And Kelly, any final advice that you have for a femme that's listening right now and or watching and wanting?
Yeah, I'd love to throw in one more metaphor kind of related to the oxygen mask thing, because it's one that really helped me. And it's that idea that we all have a cup that, we kind of have to fill up with our needs and our wants and things. And if it's depleted, we're going to be kind of taking from others or having bad habits or whatever. But I looked at it, and I even created a mantra for myself for a long time with this. And it was that I give from the overflow. And it just reminded me that I can be more generous when my cup is full and when I'm really taking good care of myself, and that I can give from the overflow to others. And it's just really generous for them and for everyone. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but
I love that. Helps me. I wish we use StreamYard for this. I wish StreamYard had a love button. Sometimes. I want to just love. Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much. And Michelle, how can femmes find you? And also final advice that you have.
Yeah, well, you can find me here on Facebook. It's just Michelle Butt, or I have a Facebook group called The Prosperous Businesswoman. You can join us there. We do a lot of cool things to help women understand their relationship with prosperity and how to move forward there. And yeah, in general, I would say for advice, it's know yourself and get to know yourself really well, so that then you can figure out what you truly need and understand how you uniquely need to get that in order to live the life that you want and feel like you aren't last on your list.
Love that. Beautiful, beautiful. God, you know what? And I'm sitting here, all of a sudden it gets really hot in Miami and I start sweating. I don't know if it's menopause or what. So I just started sweating and I start like, oh my gosh, I can't even breathe. And then that goes away. So like now I'm fine. So weird. Anyway, so if you saw me going like this to my face, I wasn't crying. I'm just like, oh, it's so hot. It's horrible here. But now I'm better. Thank you so much to you, Michelle, and to Kelly for joining me today on this conversation. For those that are watching, again, if you want to reach out, if you have any aha moments, if you want to add some of your own tips as well, perhaps you have some ideas, we'd love for you to share those as well. We're all here to help one another. So post it and tag us if you'd like. And please check out these two women as well. They are great pieces of our FemCity Global program, and I'm so appreciative that I get a chance to work with them. And if you haven't checked out FemCity, we invite you to head over to FemCity.com. We've got a great free 30-day trial membership waiting for you. Can't wait to get to know you. And we will see you girls back here next week. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.